So today I'm going to teach you 3 Chinese characters that relate to monastic training. So the first one is this, 2 lines, yeah? This is the word for person, 人, yeah. And a lot of Chinese characters are pictographic, so this kind of looks like someone who's walking, right? But yeah, without the little. So this is one person, yeah? So what do you think a group of people looks like? Yeah. Okay, so this is the word for a group of people. Yeah, 3. Yeah, and it's read as a 众, yeah, assembly. Yeah, and it's the same term that's used to talk about a monastic assembly. We are the seng in a 众, so we are 僧众, monastic assembly. So what I find very interesting is that the term for entering the assembly, yeah, which is the term used to describe the early phase of monastic training, is written like this. It's a reverse of the person. Yeah. And the term is 入. Yeah, this is to enter. 入众. Yeah. So what I find very interesting is that, in order to enter the assembly, right? Here you are, the one person trying to fit into the group. To enter, you have to bend over backwards, kind of. Yeah? I mean, the word roof, to my understanding, this is supposed to look like the roof of a house. Yeah, but to enter into it, you have to bend your head. You're bending backwards as a person to somehow get into this group. Yeah. So I just found that pictographically, I do think it describes this first phase of our monastic training, to ru, zhong. And when you talk to Chinese monastics, that is the very first stage, and it can take many, many years. Sometimes I've talked about, say, so-and-so is having difficulty in the community, and they'll ask, what's the difficulty? And I say, they cannot ru zhong. Everybody understands what I mean. Basically, they have difficulty, say, following the schedule, right? When everyone is doing one thing, this is the person who's like, I don't want to do that. Why? And basically goes their own way. Yeah, so that whole process, and all of us do it in our own different ways. Yeah, it's not like it's one outlier. Yeah, so the whole beginning of our training is learning to enter the assembly. And I mean, if you think about it, it's really hard work. All of us come from different backgrounds. We have different dispositions. We speak different languages. We all have our own preferences. And somehow, all of us are now expected to wake up at around the same time, show up in the hall at around the same time. We're all going to meditate for about the same time, even though we do different practices, show up at the same time to eat the same kind of food, even though we have different dietary requirements, and so on. Yeah, we're learning how to fit this form. And when you first join a monastic assembly, it looks like everyone is like used to it, right? You look around, you're like, wow, they all seem to like be having a really easy time. Why am I the only person who's struggling? True or not true? Okay, I see people laughing. Yeah. So obviously not. All of us are different individuals, and we're trying our best to fit this form. And then now you wonder, why would we do this? Like, if you're not Buddhist, you're like, are these a bunch of communists? Like, they wear the same thing, shave their heads, try and follow the same schedule? Like, what's up with that? So for me, I think one of the best answers I heard to that question was something that Venerable Master Panyin said at the full ordination. So I'm just going to repeat his words here and maybe comment a bit on what he said. I don't know if Venerable Children actually talked about this at a Vinaya teaching when I wasn't here. Yeah, but I've heard him say this twice, and he often gives this talk shortly after everyone has received the full ordination. It's the second platform. You've been working for weeks to figure out how to stand and bow at the same time, and you're so stressed trying to get the precepts. Finally, it's like, okay, we're fully ordained. And then what? Right? And then Master Panyin comes and says, you're fully ordained. Yeah, now you have a lot of precepts. You can't do this, you can't do that. He's like, you feel like you boarded a pirate ship, hey? And everyone looks kind of nervous, like, okay, haha. So here's his explanation. He says, we ordain because we are tired of the worldly life and horrified by cyclic existence. We want to focus on the Dharma, overcome our afflictions, and attain liberation and awakening. In deciding to ordain, our mind turns from being distracted by a variety of worldly objects, like family, career, material wealth, and we turn to a spiritual path. So far, so good, yeah? And this is what all of us have gone through to get ourselves here, right? And that in itself is a process. It's challenging, yeah? You go through this whole thing of trying to separate from all your objects of attachment, make all the arrangements, get your ducks in a row. You arrive at a monastery. You're supposed to live happily ever after, right? No. He says, yet, after we ordain, we wonder, why are there so many regulations regarding our behavior? Why did the Buddha establish precepts that regulate what we eat, what we wear, how we stand, how we sit, how we walk, how we sleep and speak? We feel restricted, like we are suffering even more than before. True or not true? So, that is what all of us go through, trying to enter into the assembly, yeah? You've gone through this whole process. You're supposed to arrive and live happily ever after. And the first thing they tell you is, be quiet at this time. You should put your hands here. You should bow like this. You are bowing wrongly. It's like, what? Yeah, straighten your collar. Sit straight. Venerable is coming, stand. And so on. Okay. So why? Why do we do this? So he says here, the full precepts make explicit the narrow field of objects our senses can engage with. We can only have these robes. We can only eat this food at these times. If we keep extra robes or have extra food, we have to do complicated procedures to declare them, which makes us think twice about accumulating things and start to restrain our greed. Our resistance to the precepts and our transgressions of the precepts show us our afflictions. Then we get clear about how greed, hatred, and ignorance manifest in our minds. Then we can start to apply the antidotes to them. Otherwise, as lay people, we have little awareness of what objects the mind is focused on, and when afflictions arise, we just follow them. So I don't know about you, but I have a very hard time seeing my own afflictions. Yeah, when thoughts arise in my mind, it's like, they're my thoughts. They're true. I'm not going to call them afflictions. It's just how I see the world, of course, because I think these thoughts. Yeah, so the precepts start to help us to, as we bump up against them, right? They start to help us to see our afflictions. And if we can't see the afflictions, we can't actually work with them. So when I read this, I always think about what the Buddha said that we recite once every 2 weeks, yeah, in the Pratimoksha Sutra, where the Buddha says, do not say after my parinirvana that pure practitioners have no protector. Now that I have taught the Pratimoksha Sutra and the excellent Vinaya well, regard these as the world-honored one after my parinirvana. So in a lot of Chinese monasteries, you'll see the huge 4 words, take the precepts as your teacher. And it's carved on pillars. And for days and days, I was like, what does that even mean? Yeah, but I think it has a lot to do with this. Yeah? The Buddha is not here. There are times where I'm alone. Venerable Chödrön is not there to be like, what are you doing? But the precepts are my teacher. It's like, whoa, hold up. I have a precept not to do this. What am I doing? Oh, gotta go look at my mind. Yeah, why am I wanting to do this thing that I have voluntarily chosen not to do? So Master Penin goes on. He says, the process of learning to live in the precepts seems very painful at first because it forces us to change our entire worldview and all our habitual tendencies. Yeah, you're bending over backwards. However, as we gain facility in restraining our 3 doors of action within the boundaries of the precepts, then it becomes easy to further narrow the field of the mind's objects to a single object that we focus on to cultivate concentration. When the mind strays from its object to wandering thoughts, that is akin to when we behave outside of the bounds of the precepts and commit a transgression. So you can see here he's starting to link the practice of ethical conduct as the foundation for concentration and then to cultivate wisdom. So in thinking about this, I was thinking about, very simple instructions that we have to follow here, right? Like, put your hands here and tuck your thumbs in. Yeah. And then how do you typically respond to that? Right? That will tell you something about what's going on in your mind. Yeah. Yeah. Some people, why? Why I cannot put my hands like that? Yeah. I'm just gonna put my hands like that. I feel like it. Yeah. Make me. Yeah. So, what's the affliction? Pride? Yeah. Anger? Yeah. So if you find yourself fighting the precepts, it's very likely that you fight a lot of other things in your life, right? Or that's what your mind tends to incline towards. So that's a clue. Yeah. So, and for those of us who are inclined toward attachment, right? Is it correct? Did I do it right? Can someone tell me if it's perfect? Is it too high? Is it too low? Can you get a protractor? Do I have my thumbs at the right angle? Attachment. Yeah, we've done some variety of that, right? So either you fight them or you hold them so tight, too tight, yeah. And that tells us something about our minds and our dispositions. And that's just with the one instruction of this, right? But that translates too into all the instructions that we get, right? Now the next instruction is follow your breath. Why? Why I cannot visualize the Buddha? I want to do my own practice. Why do I have to follow my breath, right? Or am I doing it right? Am I following my breath right? I can't find my breath. I'm such a failure. Oh my goodness, right? Or, get so tight you get lung. Yeah. Follow your breath is the instruction. Yeah. So I'm sure you get my point. Yeah, you're gonna do the same thing with whatever the object is because that's the affliction that you've been habituated to since beginningless time. And so the precepts from the Buddha are an act of tremendous kindness. When we voluntarily follow them, it's because we want to know what's going on in our minds and how to train our minds. And the interesting thing about living in the precepts over time is then, you get to watch how your relationship to them changes. Some things that were difficult at the beginning become easier, but our minds change moment by moment, and you're working with different afflictions at different times. So I do think this process of entering the assembly is not just the very beginning. It is probably the entire practice. As our bodies change, right? I see the older nuns, oh, now I can't do this. Am I a failure? I can't follow, I can't be in the group. What's going on there, right? So new things to work with as we, live our monastic lives. So I hope these 3 Chinese characters are helpful in shedding some light on what we're trying to do as we try and enter the assembly. And know that none of us are alone. I think in either fighting or grasping too hard, it's just part of the training. Venerable, do you have anything you wish to add?
Yeah, so I want to know, sometimes somebody else gets to do something and I can't. The rules are not uniform. Yeah, why? Why are the rules different from me? She's doing it.
Does one of the harmonizers want to answer this question? I'm sure you've answered this many times.
It's not fair.
So what?
So what?
Yeah, so what?
This is my opinion. This is my idea. This is my freedom. Yeah, so what? You bend over backwards for me so I can enter.
The front door is there. The shuttle leaves at 4:30. Venerable Samden will get you your ride.
I'm going to walk first. I don't need you.
It takes 6 hours. Get going.
Yes.
It's
okay,
true.
I'm going to pack my lunch first.
Okay, let's have lunch at the designated time.